You question everything you thought you knew about the world. I had one of those moments, deep in the woods, and it's a story I've hesitated to share because it sounds, well, you'll see, it involves something that, by all accounts, shouldn't exist, and an act of kindness that still leaves me speechless. It all started on a solo camping trip, a chance to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with nature. Little did I know, I was about to connect with it in a way I never imagined possible. I'd been hiking for 2 days, pushing deeper into a national forest than I ever had before. My goal was a remote lake, a spot marked on an old topographical map, rumored to be pristine and untouched. By the 3rd day, I was exhausted. I'd made a crucial mistake. Miscalculated my food supply. What I thought was enough for 5 days was barely enough for 3. My stomach was growling. My energy was plummeting, and I was still a full day's hike from the lake, and even further from my car. A knot of anxiety tightened in my gut. I was in a bit of trouble. That evening, I set up a meager camp by a small stream. My dinner consisted of half a protein bar and a handful of trail mix. As dusk settled, the forest grew quiet, but it was a heavy, watchful silence. I huddled by my small fire, feeling more alone than ever. That's when I started hearing it, a faint rustling in the underbrush, just beyond the firelight. I told myself it was just a deer, a raccoon, the usual night critters, but the sound was different. It was heavier, more deliberate. Then I heard a soft cooing sound, almost like a large bird, but with a strange, melodic quality. My heart started pounding. I grabbed my flashlight, my hand trembling slightly, and swept the beam across the dense wall of trees. Nothing, just shadows and leaves. I tried to shake it off, blaming my hunger and fatigue for my paranoia. I put out the fire and crawled into my tent, my headlamp the only source of light. I lay there for what felt like hours, listening. The cooing sound came again, closer this time. It was followed by a soft thud right outside my tent. My blood ran cold. Every horror movie I'd ever seen flashed through my mind was Eat a Bear, a mountain lion. I held my breath, listening for any sign of aggression, a growl, a scratch at the tent fabric, but there was only silence. A deep, unnerving silence. Sleep was impossible. I sat up all night, my hunting knife in my hand, my ears straining for any noise. When the first light of dawn finally filtered through the trees, I felt a wave of relief. I cautiously unzipped my tent, peering outside. And what I saw made me freeze. Lying on the ground, just a few feet from my tent door, was a small pile of berries and what looked like some kind of edible root. They were neatly arranged on a large leaf. It wasn't an animal's doing. This was deliberate. My mind said, who would leave this for me? Another hiker. It seemed impossible. I was miles off any marked trail. There was no one else out here. The next day, I had no choice but to pack up and start the long, slow hike back to my car. I ate the berries, which I recognized as safe, and they gave me a small but much-needed burst of energy. Throughout the day, I felt like I was being watched. Not in a menacing way, but with a sense of curiosity. I'd catch a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye, a shadow that disappeared the moment I turned to look. The strange cooing sound echoed through the trees every so often, almost as if something was checking on me. That night, utterly spent, I made camp again. I had no food left. As I sat by my fire, despair began to set in. That's when the cooing started again, closer than before. I didn't reach for my flashlight this time. I just sat and listened, and then I saw it. Peeking from behind a massive oak tree, just at the edge of the firelight, was a face. It was covered in dark, matted hair. It had large, dark, intelligent eyes that blinked slowly as they looked at me. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't an ape. It was small, maybe the size of a child, and its features were surprisingly human-like. It was a baby Bigfoot. My mind couldn't process it. It was impossible. Yet, there it was. It held something in its small, hairy hands. It took a hesitant step forward, then another. It was clearly nervous, but also determined. It stopped about 20 feet away, placed what it was holding on the ground, and then slowly backed away, never taking its large, soulful eyes off of me. Once it was back in the safety of the shadows, it let out another soft coo and vanished into the darkness. I sat there, stunned, for a long time. When I finally found the courage to move, I walked over to where it had been. On the ground was a fish, freshly caught from the stream, and another handful of the same roots from the day before. It was trying to bring me food. This creature, this myth, this legend, saw that I was struggling, that I was hungry, and it was helping me. It wasn't scary. It wasn't a monster. It was intelligent, and apparently empathetic. The next morning, I cooked the fish over my fire. It was the best meal of my life. It gave me the strength I needed to make the final push back to my car. I never saw the little creature again, but I felt its presence, that watchful, curious gaze, all the way back. I've thought about that encounter every single day since. Why did it help me? Maybe it sensed my desperation. In the wild, survival is everything. Perhaps it recognized me not as a threat, but as another living being in need. Or maybe it was just curious, a young, inquisitive creature encountering a strange, two-legged being in its home and reacting with compassion instead of fear. It completely changed my perspective on the unknown. We fear what we don't understand, but maybe the unknown isn't something to be feared. Maybe it's just something we haven't had the chance to connect with yet. That little baby Bigfoot didn't see a monster. It just saw someone who was hungry, and in that simple, profound act, it showed more humanity than I've seen from some people. I don't know if I'll ever have proof of what I saw, but I don't need it. I have the memory, a secret gift from the heart of the forest. What do you think? Have you ever experienced something you just can't explain? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for listening to mine. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious.